Donald Trump today kicking Vladimir Zelensky out of the White House. He didn't appreciate what Zelensky had to say. I got to show you some clips because it's worth seeing. But first, let's go straight to Donald Trump reacting to reporters' questions after kicking Zelensky the heck out of there.
He's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, and all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. His people are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so you understand it, okay? I can tell you.
Did you tell Zelensky to leave the White House?
I don't have to tell you that. Go ahead. I think you know the answer to it. What? Wait. Look, I don't trust or distrust anybody. I just want to get a deal done. And if the deal happens, good. But you can't embolden somebody that does not have the cards, and all of a sudden that person says, oh, well, now I can keep fighting. We're not going to keep fighting. You're going to get the war done, or let them go and see what happens. Let them fight it out. I want anybody that's going to make peace. If he's capable of making peace, which he may or may not be, but I want somebody that's going to make peace. Again, he doesn't have the cards. When we sign up, he's got all of the cards. That doesn't mean he can fight. He's got to stop the fighting, stop the death. He's losing hundreds of thousands of soldiers. It's time to stop the death. Okay? Well, he says he wants it now. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
Do you want immediate ceasefire?
They should have an immediate ceasefire. That was the other thing. He didn't want to do about ceasefire. A ceasefire could take place immediately.
He did not want to do a ceasefire. Unbelievable what we saw transpiring there today. Donald Trump kicking Zelensky out of the White House. I mean, he had no use for him because it was very clear that they weren't going to get anywhere. I mean, gosh, it started off, well, you know, it was like mom and dad sitting down the kid who's just a complete reckless loser, spending all the kids, you know, the family's money, and they're like, hey, we need to have a heart-to-heart. And the kid throws a temper tantrum and won't listen to what mom and dad are saying. So Trump's getting angry because all he could do is talk about Putin this, Putin that. Some of my sources have said that Zelensky was coached by people that had been close to Obama and to Biden, and that maybe that coaching put him in a position where he felt like he had to go in guns blazing and just fight, and that was not the right tactic to take. And he kept blaming Putin over and over and over again. And Donald Trump started to get really pretty darn sick of it. I want you to see.
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.
Wow. All right. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I want to show you another clip. Here's JD Vance, like trying to talk some sense into Zelensky. And like, it's just not flying. Let's watch this.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
That.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
I'm not
You're in
dictating.
no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not
cards.
playing cards.
But right now, you don't.
I'm
Yeah,
very
you're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
What are you
You're
thinking
gambling
about?
with
What are you
World
thinking
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States
what
of
are you speaking
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
I almost thought he was going to save your ass. I mean, it's awful, right? Like, people are dying. This is real. Can't we find a better way? I mean, Trump is like, it's like watching The Apprentice, right? It's like, buddy, like, you got nothing. If you don't have us, you got nothing.
The country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid
thank you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak-
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
And he's right. Okay, so we gave you, don't say that you're doing it all on your own. You did it with us. The president gave you a lot of money. It's not really clear where all that money went. You can't even tell us where all that money went. Now, can you? Chanthra Hainsana, thank you very much. We appreciate the generosity. This is a live show, guys. Brian Bloomer, thank you very much as well. I'm going to get to your comments, but I just got to say, like, at least like somebody's talking some sense, right? Like somebody's talking some sense here. And we haven't had anybody do that. I mean, you had Biden saying, how much more can I give you? How much more can I give you? You got to wonder what that was all about. Don't you think that's a little strange? It was like every time Zelensky came in, it was like, here's another 50 mil. I played a soundbite on the earlier show of him saying, here you go, $225 million. Oh, Brian's saying $10, Putin's calling Trump right now. I'm sure Putin actually, look, we don't know what we don't know, right? Like, this is complicated. And what I would say is everything that they told us about Trump and a few other things, including like Hunter Biden's laptop that was generated by Putin, like that was all fake. So I think Trump's looking at this and he's like, hey, I sort of maybe trusted you initially, but you were wrong on everything. And it turns out that, Putin wasn't entirely, we got to be sensible here. We have to understand that, sophisticated players in a sophisticated world, but it's a little weird that Adam Schiff was doing what Adam Schiff was doing, and Russia with Hillary Clinton and the dossier that was all fake, bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton's law firm that hired Fusion GPS, which hired ex-British spy Christopher Steele to write and concoct a crazy, crazy story about Donald Trump and Putin having compromise, that word comes up again, on him, and then using that to get a FISA warrant and tap Carter Page's phone. I mean, this is wild. And then we learn on top of that they were sending honeypots into various campaigns. It's like, as George said, they probably, if this is all proven out, and a lot of it already has been, they just did not want anybody else to win. So they were out there spying on these so-called political enemies that were internal, that were just the other party. So, Chandra, I want to get your comment. If Zelensky wants peace, the old deal's gone. The new deal will be more Trump, more brilliant. Think of the art of the deal. That's what I was thinking about, the art of the deal. It's like we were getting a tutorial on that today, and he's like, Zelensky, you got nothing. So, maybe you should rethink this. He did extend a little bit of an olive branch. He said, listen, he wasn't very respectful to me, but I'm willing to let him come back to the table when he's actually serious about a ceasefire and really wants peace. When peace is on the table, then we can talk. But, the rest of it was kind of a mess. So Zelensky got a big opportunity to say something bigger and better and maybe apologize on Fox News today. He had an interview right after he got kicked out of the White House with one Brett Baer. So how did that go? You might ask. Well, I'm going to show you because it seems like he's sticking to his guns here.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect President and I respect American people. And if, I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media. But there are things where we have to understand the position of Ukraine and Ukrainians, and I think that is the most important thing. Yes, we are partners. We are very close partners. We have to be fair. We have to be very free.
No apology, though. So now there's talk that, he may not even be able to stay on in Ukraine because the people really don't appreciate this. Like, who the heck wants to be at war like that? And so he's running out of cards to play. Of course, think about the fact that he showed up today and couldn't seem to find a suit. It was funny because Donald Trump greeted him at the White House and he said, "Oh, I see you dressed up today," which was like, a little bit of a dig. And then somebody in the Oval Office had this to say.
Second question. My second question for President Zelensky. No. Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see do you own a suit?
Yeah, you have problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting
I don't have such.
office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this.
Yours.
Yes,
Yes. Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for.
Note to Zelensky. You might want to wear a suit the next time you sit down for negotiations with Donald Trump and JD Vance and Marco Rubio and the entire team, okay? You just might want to dress the part. You might want to have a little bit more deference. You might not want to come out, Putin, forgive me, that's my New Hampshire accent. I always say to you guys, you got to hear me say mitten. There you just did, or kitten. Yeah, Putin, sorry. Putin, I got to work on that. Anyway, he really needs to wear a suit. I mean, Donald Trump this morning, the first thing he said to him was like, hey, buddy, do you have any clothes? This was terrific. I want to show you. Let me see if I can find it for you, because Donald Trump is just like so over this guy. Watch.
Ready close? How are you? Ready shut?
He's all dressed up today.
Oh, he's all dressed up today. He's all dressed up today. But you know what? He made it very clear. We have nothing here. If you're not willing to agree to a ceasefire, then there's no point.
Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened, but he didn't break it with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think
Serious fireworks. And you know what? It was all caught on tape. At one point, JD Vance was like, it's really not nice of you to come here and like yell at us about this money and everything and do it all in front of the media. And maybe this is something that should be done behind the scenes. And Donald Trump's like, no, you know what? We might as well put it all out in the open. We might as well let everybody see this, because he doesn't want a ceasefire deal. He's not willing to agree to this. He's not willing to agree to the minerals deal where the U.S. would get a stake in the profits going forward, to be a profit sharing plan, which by the way would be good for Ukraine, because then we'd actually have a vested interest in helping make sure that they are okay and protect them. He just wants to get paid for it, right? Like you can't just keep handing out money every single day. Not unless you have a heck of a lot of it. And frankly, the U.S. doesn't have it. We don't have it. Have you seen the national debt? And we're running massive deficits. It's like there's no desire to pay off any of this except from Elon. Thank you very much. I'll tell you, it's a big question whether, look, I hope Social Security is there forever, but I look at it, I'm like, these numbers are not good. So a lot of younger people, are going to have to come to new terms, and older people too. Listen, take care of yourself first. I always say that. Pay yourself first. Make sure that you are looking out for numero uno. We can help you do it at 76 Research, because wonderful, wonderful information over there for you. My friend Rob, that is the co-founder with me, started it with me, and he spent like 20 years on Wall Street running billions of dollars, and this is what he does, right? So we have 3 portfolios. We have the 76 report that's just $1 a month for the first 2 months, and it goes to $9.95, but you can cancel anytime. Listen, I think it's worth it, because you want to be invested in this game right now. You want to be invested in America. You want to be invested in yourself. It is important. I cannot stress that enough. And listen, it's wild, right? Oh my gosh, I'm getting everybody's age. You guys are telling me, and Mike Costa, you're like, he's going to wind up. Oh, I won't even read that. We'll leave that for everybody else to see. But yeah, I don't think that Zelensky is going to be able to pull this one off. I don't think he's got the will of the people even behind him. It is, it's really a moment in time unlike any other. And you have a president in there who is very much unlike any other. And he's willing to let you in on the action, right? He's like, bring the cameras in. Let's watch this. You can see this. And I think That level of transparency is something that the American people are very much due and owed.